Hey everyone, it's Mary Z. You are watching the VoiceHacks channel. Today's tutorial is a little unexpected, but I actually ran into this issue in lessons recently where someone that I was coaching was actually singing very, very lightly and gently with no distortion whatsoever in what we would actually call, what I call in my programs, in my clean singing teaching, mixed voice, instead of using a belting voice. This person, though they were singing gently, was having severe hoarseness. So today's tutorial, we ask the question, can singing gently or delicately actually make you go hoarse? That might seem a little strange and shocking to some of you, so we're going to talk about why that might actually be the case and why that may not be the healthiest and safest option depending on what you're doing. Before we get to that, don't forget to give the channel a subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this tutorial can help a lot of you who haven't been able to get the power you were looking for. Okay, so why could that happen? When you're playing over heavy instruments like distorted guitars and drums, one of the dangers in singing delicately over loud instruments is that you are not getting the full projection on those tones. There's different mechanics that happen in your larynx to increase the efficiency of your singing or speaking. And this needs to be in place if you expect to project safely without yelling, without slamming the vocal cords. So let's go through it. When we're singing in a mixed voice, either as a male or female vocalist, this would be what a lot of folks call a type of head voice. Part of our larynx cartilage is actually tilted forward, but our epiglottis, which is the cartilage in the front here that normally folds to cover your windpipe when you swallow, will actually be open during this type of phonation. So it's not quite an operatic phonation, but it's not a belting phonation either. It's what we call mixed voice. And in men, it's sort of the way that most falsettists sing. Think of like Adam Levine, Justin Timberlake, these type of folks. Geddy Lee, Robert Plant, Circus Survive, Coheed and Cambria, folks like this. Even Giannis from Beast in Black will use a lot of this type of voice, but he does use other types of singing as well. And so it's kind of like she, kind of between the eyes. She, cry me a river, etc. So it's not super, super powerful, but it's not exactly operatic either. It's how we sing a lot of pop falsetto. And in women, it's a nice, pretty musical theater, Disney type of tone. But if we expect to project over distorted guitars and drums and the instruments of a metal band, even with a microphone, we really can't use that mixed voice too low in pitch. We really need to do what's called belting. And belting, by definition, is where your larynx cartilage stays tilted, but your epiglottis also tilts. This would be if I was viewing my neck from the side. And the epiglottal tilt is called the epiglottal twang. And we don't necessarily mean country music. We mean that it's just in this twang position. Most folks speak in this twang position. I'm speaking in it right now. And we also call this forward placement or belting. Some folks call this chest voice, although I feel like that's not a very good or accurate name because we can certainly belt high and you wouldn't feel that resonating in your chest. That means we're actually singing through a megaphone shape inside of our larynx. You can't feel that, but it has a different, brassier, louder, brighter tone than our mixed voice. Nay, okay, as opposed to she. Okay, and that's definitely too delicate. I can also feel that when I remove the epiglottal twang and I open that up for the mixed voice, what ends up happening is I'm fighting a lot harder in my larynx. I can feel the outside muscles starting to work to push my cords together, and they will actually begin to slap and slam together if I mix too low. I can't really get the volume in the middle C octave without that epiglottal twang engaged. So what you can get, though, is you can wait to use your mixed voice to your highest notes. If you mix on notes very high, above D5 or so, and so if you can mix above that, she, you can see that it's coming out much louder. So if I reserve my mixed voice above C5, if we're referring to C4 as middle C, then the projection can kind of be maintained. We're able to more easily amplify some of the higher frequencies. And this is why we hear a lot of male falsettists in rock and metal belt as far as they can and then use their mixed voice and their falsetto tones for the highest notes, because it's a safe way to maintain the volume. But whether you're a male or a female rock or metal singer, you kind of want to avoid engaging your mixed voice in the middle C octave if you're having trouble projecting. It might be nice for an opening line where there are fewer instruments or the acoustic version or something, but on stage in your metal band, in your song, you're going to find that you might even experience pain using a mixed voice if it's not giving you the volume you want. When our epiglottal twang is engaged, the research actually shows, and this is for real, look at programs like the CVT for references if you want to know some more about this research. But when the epiglottal twang is engaged, you can get up to 400 to 600% more volume with the same amount of air pressure. So you do want to be using your epiglottal twang, and you want to belt as far as you can in rock and metal, and then save your mixed voice for your highest notes or for really delicate parts where there are fewer instruments and you don't need to project. And this is why my vocal client was having so many problems. They actually thought they were being safer by avoiding distortion, avoiding belting. But this was actually where they began to have more vocal problems, because in their mixed voice, they were actually slamming their vocal folds together, almost like a shout, in an attempt to project the same volume that you can get in a belt tone, which we really can't replicate in a mixed voice. We need our epiglottis to be in that folded position, and you can't feel that or command that directly. So you need to work on using the abstract thought to get you into the belt tone. Check out my belter series playlist. I have mixed voice series playlists and belting series playlists on my channel. So I can really help you distinguish between the two kinds if you go through those lesson playlists. But belting, essentially, if you want a quick hack, sounds just like your speaking voice, unless you speak like this. Hello, hi everybody, I'm talking like this. This would be if I didn't have my epiglottis engaged in the twang position. So if you have a really light voice like that, it might actually not be in it. But most folks, when we speak, we're speaking with our epiglottis engaged, and everything you say is a note. And so that's where we begin our belting journey. Nay, very similar to my nay, my speaking tone, right? Nay. It's different. It's much easier for me to project. I get a lot more volume and a lot more efficiency out of there without hurting my throat or slamming my vocal folds. Belting is not shouting. It's that epiglottis position that's amplifying the sound. Now, that being said, we can't belt indefinitely, and that's why we bring up using the mixed voice in the higher areas. Most folks I've trained can only belt their lowest 2.5 octaves at the max. Some folks a little bit further than that, but most of the time there's going to be a limit to your belting. And that still takes training to get to not flip into your mixed voice. I'm not a natural belter, and actually for a lot of my life, I could only opera sing and classical sing and mixed voice sing. I couldn't belt at all. Now I can belt my full belt capacity relative to my vocal range, and I usually use all of it in rock and metal and wait to use my mixed voice for the highest notes. So if you're having trouble and you think that you've been singing gently and you can't figure out why, might be time to add belting to your repertoire, because you need to operate more efficiently and you need to get those chords to stop slamming. You need to be able to project volume in a safe way. So thank you guys so much for checking out the latest tutorial today here on VoiceHacks channel. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back with more for you very soon. Thanks everybody. And if you have questions about lessons, email me at voicehacks@gmail.com. I teach students on Zoom in over 40 countries all over the world every week. So feel free to reach out to me if you're interested in lessons on either clean or harsh vocals. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you soon.